We are apparently live right now, you guys. For those of you joining us here this Sunday, we're trying to stream live to Rumble for the first time today. So we are checking that stuff out right now. We're looking to see if it's running and how that's working. Hi, everybody. Long time no see. Okay, so do you have room over there? If you need to move that, here, move this stuff. No, this needs to be moved because you're going to crowd me. If I'm on the edge, you need to stay over there.
Focus, you're good.
I already told him before we started that I couldn't focus because I was running the production. His job is to entertain you guys while we get started.
No.
Yes, we're.
That's not what I do.
Are we going to just start the live stream over?
No. We're good.
Do. Hey guys.
You need a minute to get in anyways. You don't just start a live stream.
Okay, well I can't tell if we're running on Rumble.
I'll check.
So, you guys, figured better time than ever. I don't know how many of you out there have been watching the drama, the Daily Wire drama. If you're out there and you're watching, just give us some comments in the chat. Do me a favor, go over to Rumble, see if it's running over there. I don't see it. Do you? I see live. I see other people are live. I don't see that we're live.
Let's see what's going on. We never use Rumble like this.
Yes, This is our first time trying to live stream on Rumble. So probably should have done that as a separate broadcast, maybe.
It says live.
It does? But it doesn't say recording
live.
In progress.
Recording in progress.
All right. Well, it says it's working. Hey, guys. Hey. Who? Let's see. I got to change into my other glasses now.
Log out of as us.
So, like Mr. Rogers.
Wow.
I'm now here. Now I'm changing my glasses. That means we're ready to go, you guys. Are you ready?
Yeah. Ready to rock.
All right. All right.
Is it doing a thing?
Oh, cool. Okay, so it's working.
Our first inaugural Rumble.
Hey.
Stream.
First time live streaming on Rumble.
We're here.
We're on Facebook and YouTube today. So Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble live streaming. That's pretty exciting. High five.
Yeah, big time.
Ow. Okay. So many of you guys are who watch this channel are also probably fans of Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, the Daily Wire crowd, and Steven Crowder, the Louder with Crowder crowd. Crowd. Basically, there are a lot of us who watch a lot of conservative content, right? Yeah. We want to see what our team is saying, what's going on. I know we personally are, we have a membership to both the Daily Wire and Mug Club. Mm-hmm. I should have grabbed my mug and started out with a nice long sip like Steven Crowder does. I've actually been a member of the Mug Club longer than I have been a member of Daily Wire, but we've been kind of watching this saga go on the last week or so, and then seeing the response to it from various political pundits, whether they're other folks with the Daily Wire or they're just other people who care. And really it's been pretty astonishing at how bad people's takes are.
First, I want to tell them what
in general. Okay, so here's the deal.
I'll be right back. I'm grabbing the mug.
You got it? Okay.
Speaking
of Mug Club. Oh, wait. I was supposed to put heels on first, you guys, because I'm so short. Benjamin's so much taller than me. It makes a terrible frame. I'm just saying. That's just me. That's just me being fussy. See how much better this is going to look? Okay. So, for whatever, Steven Crowder has a show called Louder with Crowder. And he's a comedian. It's like a 2-hour long show. They do skits. He's a comedian. They try to have a comedic spin on all of the crazy nonsense that's happening in politics. And, he's got on major politicians and players like Carrie Lake and Donald Trump Jr. and, oh God, who else is he had? Ted Cruz. And for some reason, I don't know what it is, to be totally honest with you. I don't know why he's no longer going to have his show distributed on Blaze TV. Okay, blazetv.com is a website where a bunch of conservative creators have their content hosted. So I don't know exactly what his agreement was the Blaze, if they were just distributing his content, if he was considered an employee. I don't know. But for whatever reason, he was no longer going to be hosted there. Now, personally, I'm not surprised by that at all, because the app is garbage. The Blaze TV app, no, it really is. Multiple times during an episode, the playback would cancel, and you're so sweet. And I would have to leave the feed and go back in, and that would happen 6 or 7 times during an episode. It was incredibly annoying. So I would literally wait to watch it on YouTube, or I would just watch it on YouTube or wait till later in the day to watch it, because it was too annoying to try to watch it live. So anyway, there's a little backstory. So we've known for a little while that for whatever reason, he wasn't going to be on the Blaze, and Steven Crowder was looking for a new place to host his show. And so, I want to first say, I think Steven is, oh, that's good. Look at us. See, it's like the Gem and the Holograms reference I told you about earlier, honey. There's an old cartoon, Gem and the Holograms, and the Misfits released an album at the same time. Okay. And it was a big competition. Who was going to win?
Talking about at all. Let me tell you what I didn't watch as a kid.
Gem and the Holograms. Yeah. Okay. Is all for show. We're going to talk about that. Dan asked, do you think the whole...
No, put it up.
Oh. Why are you getting all sassy with me? Why don't you say it nicely? Dan, do you think the whole Crowder Daily Wire drama is all for show? Yes and no, in a funny way. In that I don't think it's a game, but I am glad that it is public and exposed.
Correct.
And part of the reason why is because I think it's important for us to have these conversations in public. We have been listening to everybody. Oh, the Kevin McCarthy. Oh, they shouldn't be having this in public. Oh, why are they embarrassing everybody? As if the greatest deliberative body ever to be assembled, deliberating, is an embarrassment to the country.
Like, did we give him the fullness of what is happening?
I mean, okay, so Crowder's looking for a new place to host his show. And he apparently goes out and gets some offers from various conservative platforms, one of which was the Daily Wire. And in his first video, the Stop Big Con, his first announcement, he says, I got a contract like this. And he said, I got several contracts like this. So first of all, he didn't mention the Daily Wire. Daily Wire outed themselves.
Yes.
Steven Crowder said he got multiple contracts that were just like this one.
Correct.
So then Daily Wire comes out and says, oh, yeah, it was us. And who cares? And, oh, man, $50 million isn't enough for him. Oh, I'm editorializing.
Yep.
So Steven Crowder says, you know what? I have a problem with this. And he goes through his list of grievances with why these contracts are a problem. Mm-hmm. And he even says in the video, this is not about the money. It's not that it's not enough money to make. It's the terms that are a problem. And we're going to go into the terms, but he said the terms of this contract are a problem. And here's why. And he lines it out. He never says they didn't offer me enough money.
I want to be clear. We don't know if anyone who's saying anything, Jeremy Boring, Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, we don't know who, if they're lying. People could be misconstruing their true intent, but that's not our job to figure that out. This is what we know. What we know is what he said. And we're going based on what they all said.
Thank you. That is a really good point. We're going to try really hard not to do too much editorializing in this, because I think so much of what we've been hearing from the other political pundits, other people at the Daily Wire, is all this salaciousness. Candace Owens like freaking out and cussing people out and calling people B words. And, it just seems really unnecessary.
Yeah.
So I think we come at this from a very unique angle. Okay. We're both business owners. We're both free market proponents. We're both capitalist business owners. And
I'm sorry, keep going, no.
But we also happen to come from Hollywood, from the world of film, and reading and dealing with talent contracts and seeing music artists and actors end up penniless and broke,
Yes.
even though they've made millions and millions of dollars for their producers. So, but it was even further than that. It was like, okay, so we're looking at these contracts as Hollywood people going, oh, yeah, they basically own you at that point.
It looks like what they call 360 deals, or whatever you make while you're here. We didn't read the whole contract, but what we saw was they had anything you produced in that span of time belonged to them. You can check the video. Crowder shows you the contract, but it does seem like producers take a hefty amount of the product.
And Jeremy Boring goes through the contract, and he admits to it. There is no, he's like, yes, this is what the contract says.
Yeah.
And so do you think that's enough of a background? Have we given enough?
I think that's enough of the background.
So Daily Wire defended themselves, defended their contract. They don't think it's a problem. Steven Crowder does. People are saying Steven Crowder is just being a B word grifter, that he just wants money, and that wasn't enough money. And just really anybody who's saying that, I think really, really missed the point and didn't really listen to the video. So we're going to parse some of this out. I personally think that the public arguments are good for conservatives.
Yes.
I think that, the best disinfectant is sunlight.
All right, well, that's
okay.
What we've been saying.
And
we're supposed to be the side that likes debate and discussion, and the left is supposed to be the side that doesn't. So how are you willing to debate people on the left, but you're not willing to debate your own people? That's weird to me.
So I think the fact that we can't have a discussion about whether or not these things are good or bad for conservatism, okay, not for my personal pocket, not for your personal pocket, but for conservatism. Are these things good for us or not? Does this further the movement? And how are we helping each other or not? And I think that that's what the really important message to take away is, like, what is this? So
let me answer that.
Okay. Dan says, Benjamin, do you think the Daily Wire crowd are conservative grifters?
Well, they are selling things. I don't think everybody on their team is a grifter. I've never gotten that feel, right? No. They could very well be. Who freaking knows? We don't know any of these people. That's the whole problem.
That's the reality.
I don't know anyone. Now, have they had meetings with people that like Zuckerberg, have people on Daily Wire sit down and had meetings with individuals like that? Sure. Does that mean they're grifters? I don't know. They could have been fighting for the rights of all conservatives online. I have no freaking idea. I don't think they're grifters. I think there are people who play it really safe, and I think that there's a danger to that, and that's what we're probably going to talk about today.
So here is what Crowder's main complaint was. It was not that he was going to, I have to show up to work or else I won't get paid. What he said was, from reading this contract, it appears that your business model is dependent on giving money to the people who hate us. It means building a platform and foundation under people who hate us. And if in doing so, they decide they don't like you, your revenue is going to be cut.
Correct.
Okay. And so skipping the revenue is going to be cut and moving back to the most important piece, which is we're giving hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars every year to the tech companies who hate you.
We're growing those tech companies.
We're giving them our dollars. So when people like Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, and the Daily Wire hosts do their ad reads for things like Pure Talk, and they say, oh, don't give your money to the, Verizon or these other organizations that hate you. They say, don't give your money to Disney.
Yep.
Give your money to us because
Yep.
we're going to create an alternative platform.
So you've taken Gina Carano after her issue with Disney so that you can put your own film platform together, but you're streaming and direct to consumer platform you're on, that you're using, that you're paying millions of dollars in marketing for them to run your ads, is on YouTube and not Rumble.
The same people who canceled Gina Carano in the first place.
So that is a bit of a conflict of interest. Now, there are some arguments that can be made from the Daily Wire side. Again, from the film side, I can understand having like the clause being, if you get demonetized or whatever, because it hurts their revenue model because they're getting money from YouTube. Hey, if you lose us money, we're not going to pay you as much because we lost money. But you can't, that doesn't make any sense to offer as a contract to someone like Steven Crowder,
who's been demonetized.
It's illogical contract
for years.
And then with the amount of money that the cut they were taking, it seems weird because Crowder, for them to own the rights to everything he produces during that span of time, seems weird because, as far as I understand, Crowder has his own production team. So they're not really producing his content. They're just
distributing it. And so we were sitting there going, okay, well, Crowder, why are you, this was a big critique of us of Crowder, is like, dude, why are you acting like an employee? Why are you getting contracts from places like the Daily Wire as if you're an employee?
Take a revenue cut.
That money they offered him was for him to produce the show. He's already producing it himself. He has his own production team. $50 million was not just his salary, as far as I understand. That was to produce the show. You just need someone to distribute it. You're looking for a distribution deal, not an employment contract.
And need is even a strong word. You want. Someone of caliber and within an existing reach to distribute it, which also begs the question of, if you don't have access, because some of the people who critique them and say, well, Crowder's broken, it's a money grift, saying basically he doesn't have access to Mug Club, that's through the Blaze. And well, also, if that's the case, it's like, dude, what are you doing?
How does Russell Brand have his own email list, and the Quartering has his own email list, capturing this data and figuring that out?
And even people,
my man, you had to know with all of this going on,
there's a potential for this to go bad. And then even with young Ripper, he often talks about parallel economies and we need our own things and yada, yada, yada. So I'm trying to understand how Crowder could be in the game as long as he is and not understand that that's a potential problem. Like, didn't you see what happened with Louis C.K.? You're a comedian. You could easily be canceled for any number of things.
Canceled.
So
we've got our critiques for Mr. Crowder, but I appreciate what the Daily Wire is doing, trying to create a conservative platform for culture, movies, documentaries. The only person's rebuttal that I heard that was reasonable and made sense was Matt Walsh. He wasn't out there calling people B words and acting like a psycho.
We'll talk about that too.
He said, look, for me, I signed one of those contracts and it's given me the opportunity to have my podcast. I got to do a documentary. I'm supported in my book. He was like, I was a nobody and now I'm a somebody and I'm happy about it. And he said, so, it's not for everybody, but this was my choice. And I'm like, see, that's, if you knowingly and willfully go into those contracts, but also Matt Walsh admittedly said,
I was nobody.
Steven Crowder's not a nobody. He's already doing stand-up stuff all over the country. He's got, Mug Club, 6 million subscribers, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. If you bring me on as an actor on a movie and you have Leonardo DiCaprio, those conversations will look different. Those contracts will look different. And what Crowder was saying that was an issue is that if I signed this contract when I first started my career, I could not have become who I am and had the impact I had and got as many people involved because there's no way I could not be
He
demonetized.
couldn't take the risk.
And here's a thought I had. They didn't seem to stipulate why you get canceled or demonetized. Understanding how fickle, and this is what he says, how fickle YouTube during all the product, the jab, if you get my drift, we're going to call it the product. Doing all that stuff, you know how easy it was to get demonetized or kicked off stuff. I
have two community guideline strikes on YouTube because of things my guests said on live. Well, one of them was live, one of them wasn't.
Yeah.
But still, and here's the thing. I'm seeing people are sending me screenshots that they can't, when they go to share my videos, it's like a warning about COVID-19.
Dangerous.
What was the one the other day? There was a video, there was a post about how the product can cause strokes. There's a stroke risk. And when it said, but that had a warning at the bottom of it, find out more information. And it was for where to go get the product.
Yeah.
It wasn't
how to go get jabbed.
Oh,
so the warning for the potential dangers of the jab had a link for more information. It had no information on the warning, had information on where you could go get the jab.
And so even though the rules have changed and they've updated guidelines, YouTube hasn't. And so I got a strike. And so does that mean I then don't deserve to be whatever? Like,
and here's the other thing. So let's take, for instance, you guys have seen The View. You've seen people like Joy Reid
who can say wild nonsense.
So let's say they go out and they know that you're sponsored by, let's say, something like Established Titles, and they get their whole left team to lean on Established Titles and say, hey, these people are promoting misinformation, yada, 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 yada.
Yep.
We could just be reading things directly off the CDC. Doesn't matter. If they did that and then they demonetize our channel, we would still take the L. We would still lose income.
If you just if somebody just decides to dislike you,
correct,
which happens
all the time.
I mean, they crush people's livelihoods and lives over dumb crap
flagging
all of
them
the time
because they dislike them. And so what you're saying, this is what part of what Crowder was saying. You're putting the ability to demonetize conservatives into the hands of the left. You're saying if they get enough energy going to get you deplatformed to demonetize, and it doesn't have to be because you did something actually wrong or gave actual misinformation. If you are removed, you could lose your income.
Sorry, sucker.
That is incentivizing people to stay in between the lines, not say anything dangerous, not challenge narratives.
It's confirming what they already believe they can get away with. So if the Daily Wire says, hey, if you get demonetized, if you get a community guideline strike, or somebody attacks your sponsors, sorry, you're not getting paid. Now people know that if they do this, you will go bankrupt or lose. Like, because if he loses a bunch of money, then how does he pay his people? And
it's fair in the sense that if you're Daily Wire and your income all comes from that source,
then of course
that's a reasonable thing. But the problem is that proves Crowder right.
You're dependent on the enemy,
on your enemy to like you.
You're putting your livelihood in the hands of people who hate you.
Here's the problem with that. And while we can say it's logical for them to do what they're doing, they're arguing the exact opposite with people like Gina Carano and saying that we're not supposed to do that. So they're kind of caught in a scenario where they're kind of living out what they're saying and they're kind of not. It's reasonable and we totally understand, but it is incredibly dangerous. And one of the things we talked about was like, this would be like
you're
if you
manspreading.
Oh my
You're
goodness
taking
gracious.
up the whole
No,
space.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are. I told you we got to move.
So the point is, like, if you take a situation like we remember what Mr. Weinstein was doing back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Right. So let's say I go and I say, look, I'm your agent.
Check this out.
And you're booking this work. You've got an audition with
Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein. You're going to do this big deal. He's got this big movie role for you. If you don't book this role because I'm going to make a cut, if you don't book this role with Harvey, I'm going to penalize you because I got it sewed up and it's in the bag. Now, let's say you show up to that meeting and it happens to be at a hotel and it happens to include some, let's just say, ungentlemanly terms in order for you to secure that role. Let's just say it takes. Let's say Harvey doesn't want you to just play one position on that particular set. Okay. How fair would it be for me to penalize you for not going along with someone who has ill intent for you?
My money is reliant on you doing your part and going along.
And I know that's a hyper graphic visual I'm giving you.
You know what?
But I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. If I have to keep trans activists happy with me in order to get paid, that's not going to work if I'm a conservative.
And so this is why I've been getting so frustrated listening to people, because this is an excellent conversation for us to be having. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the things when the Black Lives Matter stuff started.
Yep.
And we were like, no, there really are areas of American life where it still really is racist or prejudice or hard to break into. But instead of talking about the areas that really matter, we're talking about the three, we're not talking about the real problems. And because it's so salacious and over the top, that conversation gets overshadowed. We don't get to talk about the real problems.
Correct.
Hollywood is a problem. Yep. Okay. Hollywood is a problem, not just because of the Me Too stuff, but also because of race prejudice stuff. There were years when the only roles Benjamin was getting from his agent were for thug number 1 and drug dealer number 2. It was dark-skinned Black people can only be bad guys, apparently, according to Hollywood.
Sometimes, yeah.
So Daily Wire's Hollywood, you guys. Ben Shapiro, Jeremy Boring are literally both from LA. Jeremy Boring was in Hollywood. These are guys who are accustomed to doing business a certain way. They're accustomed to setting up talent contracts a certain way.
And talent contracts often are going to be skewed heavily in favor of the production company or distribution company.
And so this is one of the things that we have been talking about for years, about talent contracts, about agents, about producers. It's why we have Ballistic Blade, Austin Action Fest, Generally Irritable. We're creating our own things so that we don't have to be beholden to Hollywood. So we don't have to be beholden to their rules, their expectations, and their mores.
Because what happens is we say that Hollywood is like a stripper, low moral, fun to watch. Not a lot of moral character that you really want to be, you're
not going to wife her
pursuing, correct? Let's just say that much, right? Entertaining. We will say it's entertaining, right? And so it's like we're saying all that from the outside, and then we go to the club, to the Shake Club, and now we're begging that same stripper to like us. That's not a good look. You can't stand on your principles and say, oh man, these people are bad. They hate us. We should do our own thing and have our own, parallel economy that's good for conservatives. And then at the exact same time, you're begging and pleading with these people to like you. Here's my one problem I have. Mind you, Ben Shapiro, a big part of when I first started paying attention to politics, loved his mind and the way he processed things. But I don't think they thought all this through, or maybe he's just not in control, because he's not. You can't talk smack about people like LeBron James, and now he'll bend a knee, and him and the NBA and the NFL will bend a knee to China because they know their bread is buttered in China because there's so much money from these Hollywood contracts and these movies and the NBA and all that stuff. You cannot talk smack about people like that and then bend knee to YouTube.
Nope.
You can't do. Let me be clear. You can't do that. It really does soften your argument, because I don't really think that you believe what you're saying.
And I understand, Jeremy Boring, I think, made this point where this is where the eyes are. This is where the eyes are. This is where the reach is.
That's a fair argument.
And so I said, well, I mean, it's like the church that you go to that's real seeker sensitive, right? So maybe Daily Wire is just diet conservatism, right? Like the church you go to that makes you feel good after the service, but they definitely don't talk about sin or really even Jesus. I call that diet Jesus. I call that diet church. So maybe Daily Wire's just diet conservatism, where it's really seeker sensitive.
It's fun.
It is
fun.
pared down enough that you can still be on Facebook and all these other platforms.
It's BuddyCon. It's the friendly version.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But just be honest about it then. Don't sit there and act like you have this moral high ground when you are part of the system too.
And if that's your strategy and that's fair, then you need to be like, look, we're conservatism 101. We're an introductory course. You got to move on from us to something that's a little heavier, a little more meat, whatever, if you really want to fight this fight. But we get people in the door. And if you just said that, and hey, man, in order to do that, we have to be where the eyeballs are. Totally get it. We got it. It's not a good fit. It is what it is. Crowder needs to move around, whatever. But they're not saying that. So
they're trying to act like what they're doing is perfectly okay and not a problem. And the reality is it just makes you a hypocrite. And it's fine. You're just a hypocrite.
Yeah, you don't mean what you say. You don't want to build an economy that is independent of people who don't dislike us or take over their economy. You want to play in their same sandbox. Oil and water. But here's what I will say.
And there's a place for both of those
and
things.
There is a place for that.
There
but
is.
You have your integrity means your words matching your actions. Right now, it does not look like to people that your words match your actions. I don't like to put I don't want to put malintent on people's actions. I don't need to justify.
Don't need to.
There's no need to do that. It's an ineffective thing to say one thing and do another thing. It just doesn't work very well over a long haul. So we know a lot of people that do not like, have to our faces told us how they think about Shapiro and Daily Wire. And I'm like, look, I like a lot of things they do. I like a lot of shows. I will say in one critique, I don't like how Candace Owens has been performing recently. And it's unfortunate because, I watched that thing with the Nicole Arbor situation, and Nicole Arbor was supposed to be one of her friends, I thought. And when she came on the show, it was like a catty cat scratch fest. And I'm like, when you're the host, if you come on with that intent, that's ugly because you already have
set
power.
Up your friend. You set up somebody you call your friend.
Yeah.
And you attacked them on your show. See, one of the things that I find very confusing is there are some people like Candace Owens taking this whole thing incredibly personally. So if you're on Timcast and you're cussing somebody out, and then you go on your own podcast and call people B words,
that's a lot.
If Candace, first of all, if Candace Owens was a man and she talked to Steven Crowder like that. Those are literally fighting words. So I don't know why she thinks that she can run around being so disrespectful
over a conversation that
isn't even about you.
He was talking to Jeremy Boring and Daily Wire. You are Candace Owens. You are new to the station.
You are not the owner. You're not the one writing. As far as I know, she's not writing the contract. She doesn't own the Daily Wire.
It's like when you have like the new gang member and he just got sworn in and he's got to do the dirt. It's like, I got to prove that I'm down.
Oh yeah. Like, are you trying to prove like loyalty?
But here's the thing.
After jumping from PragerU to like jumping around from different organization to organization.
Here's my deal with that. Y'all are supposed to be Christians.
Number one.
Most of you are Christians, Catholics, or Jews. And you don't even beef about any of that. Or the agnostics or atheists you have in the show. You get into an ugly name-calling cat fight about a contract and strategy dispute
with people who are supposed to be on your team.
Yeah, it's cannibalization. It's like the way that conversation started, it should have been a sit down like Jeremy Boring freaking on the Russell Brand show with Crowder, like debating a topic. It's a good conversation to have. It's a good conversation to have. What is the strategy? Are we doing big tent? Are we going hard on our principles? Is it a multi-tiered approach? They're going to start with us, Daily Wire intro, and skip up into harder content. Whatever the deal is, it should have been a conversation about optimal strategy. Moreover, in a lot of ways, we're outnumbered by the people on the left who walk in lockstep 90% of the time. They don't even like people, and they walk in lockstep 90% of the time. So if we can't figure out, after having a good, solid quality debate about something, how we can work together, or at least disagree amicably over contract terms, I don't know what we're doing right now.
Because here's the thing. This is again, there are these parallel arguments happening, right, between Daily Wire, Louder with Crowder, conservatives versus Republicans, right? The Freedom Caucus versus the neocons.
Everything in Vermont with conservatives versus Republicans.
I mean, I'm having arguments with leadership, right? So you guys know, many of you who watched my campaign and who've watched this channel, I say things like, I think it should be a big tent party. I think the Republican Party is a big tent party. And I think we should welcome people with different belief systems into the party. I also believe that if those people want to be candidates, that they need to uphold the values of the party that they identify as.
Correct.
So here's the deal. You can be a pro-choice Republican. You absolutely can be.
But
you just can't vote that way.
Boom.
Okay? Because you're supposed to be on our team. A big part of the reason I believe Vermont Republicans, Vermont conservatives, and this goes across the nation, here in Texas, everywhere, when we talk to people, they don't believe us anymore.
Ooh.
Okay? So you have all of these people who are running with an R behind their name, calling themselves Republicans, but they don't actually believe in those values. They won't actually vote and uphold the things that it says in the Republican platform. Because there's a website that says Vermont Republicans, as an example, believe this, and this.
Yep.
And when Vermont Republican candidates and politicians continue to not vote that way, well, they don't trust us anymore. They don't believe us anymore.
When your leadership expresses to people or shows people that those values don't matter if it won't win you votes, well, then they're like, what am I voting for?
And so when you have people over and over and over again behave outside of their own best interests and their own values, don't be surprised when the other team wins.
Oh, look at his
I would also like to cancel Joe Biden, Suze.
Let people see what she said.
I would like to cancel a lot of these people.
Yes.
You know, and I think that what is so disappointing, as much as I would like to cancel Joe Biden, I'd like to cancel other conservatives and Republicans and libertarians more.
Our greatest enemy is not them. It is our people who don't seem to actually care about being conservative. They want to be liked by the stripper. I don't get it. You're begging for the stripper's attention. The stripper does not care about you. The stripper's never going to care about you. That's how this works.
I would rather lose standing on my values and principles than win having to sell out what I believe and the people who got me there. So, you know, that's just me personally. You got a fan from Iron City. The Last Wizard says, hey, Ben.
What's going on, fam? Long time no see. Love you too.
This is the thing. You guys, we want people to follow us. We want people to vote for us. We want people to follow us. And that means we have to be people worth being followed. So if you're unprincipled, if you're a hypocrite, people are going to lose faith in you. It doesn't matter how big you are, and it doesn't matter what good you're trying to do. So
if you want people to spend money and time and energy on your campaign, fighting for you, arguing with relatives about why they should vote for you or believe in you, and everyone's scared, and you're willing to just switch directions and vote like you're on the other team because it's prudent in the moment. That is what I heard in meetings from people, literally people who are like new conservatives saying, if we're not going to stand up and fight for our values and vote like conservatives, why am I even in this meeting? What is the point? It doesn't matter.
And it doesn't mean, again, that we have to be mean to people or ugly to people. It doesn't mean if you are conservative leaning and you are just tired of the nonsense, go to a Republican Party meeting, go to a Libertarian Party meeting, find out. Stop judging people for all their beliefs. As long as everybody's just willing to cooperate and work together, we can have differences of opinion.
Yeah.
But we have to be fighting on the same team for the same goal with the same mission, because that is the only way you are successful in a war.
Correct.
If everybody's just fighting their own fight and their own, like, whatever, we don't.
I just watched that montage of AOC and her constituents getting angry about her because she says one thing: I'm willing to die on the Hill, and if I'm a one-term person, I can get so much done on my one term, and blah, 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 blah. All this, I'm willing to fight for the people. And then she got in there, and you see the next interview, and it's like back to back, and they show you. And the next interview is, I think it might have been Liberal Hive Mind, might have been. The next interview is, oh, well, you got to understand, if I can't get on committees, I can't do this.
Play the game.
Basically, she flip-flopped. Is like, well, I can't do anything if I can't play the game.
And look at what the Freedom Caucus was able.
And I want to be very clear about this. And they might have been Jimmy. It was Jimmy Dore was the one dragging AOC about that.
Leftist.
And what I thought was, what is dangerous is if those people are disenfranchised by the left. Now, mind you, this is the worst kind of strategy ever, waiting for your enemy to make a mistake. But let's say they're disenfranchised, and now they're looking to see, what are the other options? Man, AOC really let me down. Maybe she's really not about helping people like they said. And then they go watch us. And we're doing the same kinds of things.
We're not actually standing up for people.
If the Republican Party has, like a Liam Madden running as a Republican, and they look at, well, he sounds like AOC. They're doing the same things that this side's doing. And then this is what people check out. When they see both sides are both being trash, and then there's no point in them voting because they're not going to get anything that they want. You have to stand on your principles, do it with grace, do it with kindness, but stand on your principles. And that's why when we talk about the Freedom Caucus, I loved what happened. Yep. I know a lot of people got angry, but I heard someone say this is the most debate they had about rules in like ever.
And now, guess what? No more proxy voting. Oh my God. We got, oh, good golly, Miss Molly. They got so many concessions that people like me have been asking for years.
Convention of States.
Actually, go to conventionofstates.com, learn about the Article 5 convention,
which is a bipartisan article.
Speaking of which, just for a little foreshadowing, you guys, we're here today as a little extra, little fun, little live show. Yep. We're launching season 5 of Generally Irritable on on Friday, February 3rd. Let's see, you guys, when are we doing that? Hold on. Is it 11 o'clock Central Time? So it's now noon to 2. Yeah. Noon to 2 Fridays. Eastern, 11 to 1 Central.
Yep.
So it's going to be Friday afternoons. And funny enough, it's because Louder with Crowder isn't on Fridays. So I decided I'd have my show on Friday.
And I just want to, it's about that time.
Oh, and COS. I'm having Vicky Strong on. Vicky Strong. We're going to be talking about COS.
Right.
And Guy Page giving us a rundown on the legislative session so far.
And
so
today's.
Today's sponsor, you guys. Hey.
Speaking of reasons, we're talking about the government and the people in office.
Yes.
And while we like what Matt Gaetz and all those people are up there fighting for term limits, fighting for fiscal responsibility, fighting for people to follow the rules that everyone agreed to a long time ago and just change all the time like they did with Social Security.
Whatever.
That's a bomb there.
Whatever.
Speaking of that, today's brought to you by
Reasons to Trust the Government. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is our beautiful color book here. Look at how beautiful this cover is. Okay. You want to put this on your coffee table. You want to put this on your bookshelf. You want people to look at this and go, what reasons to trust the government? I want to know what the answer to that is. And they're going to pick up the book and they're going to be like, wow, my friend's really smart and really thoughtful because they have this book. Should we play the commercial?
Play the
commercial. All right, you guys, here's today's sponsor. A book, Reasons to Trust the Government. Go to Amazon.com.
This book will give you wings!
What kind of wings?
Not like Icarus wings, like eagle's wings!
What about dragons?
You'll have dragon's blood! You'll be able to breathe fire!
Fire like the Ultra Eagle Dragon!
This book will make you smarter!
Yes!
I'm not just talking honor roll smart, I'm talking Nikola Tesla smart! You'll be so good looking, Brad Pitt will be jealous!
Do you want to make money?
How much money?
Elon Musk money.
That's a lot of money!
People will think you're Elon Musk, but you're not Elon Musk, but they'll think you're
Elon Musk, because you pay taxes like Elon Musk!
And you have to argue with Elizabeth Warren because she thinks you're Elon Musk. Do you want freedom?
How much freedom?
All the freedom. One to America. How much freedom do you want?
America!
Double America! Yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen, today's sponsor, Reasons to Trust the Government. Go to Amazon.com, $9.99. Leave us a review.
Crazy.
Be creative.
I want a wildly patriotic, borderline obscene review.
All right. That's what we're talking about.
Plus Ultra.
Plus Ultra. Go Plus Ultra.
Super, super extra reviews.
Okay, what else? Are we missing anything that we wanted to talk about today?
No, just the parallels of, hey, man, we're supposed to be conservatives. We're supposed to have the better ideas. We're the party of Thomas Sowell and individuals like that. We're supposed to want to talk about things and be able to handle those conversations amicably with respect. When we start yelling and screaming and fighting like
swearing.
lefties.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
I'm not
supposed
here
to be
for
better
that.
than that.
We're supposed to be up in like Daily Wire and Crowder. Those are Christians, Christian brothers, Jewish brothers.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Catholic brothers, facts over feelings, right? So
Christians, they know us by how we treat each other.
Yeah. So, I mean, unfortunately for everybody involved, if you're being nasty and snippy and mean-spirited, especially to the people on your own team, what do you think people from the other team would think about joining your team? One of the reasons when you hear people like Amala and individuals like that talk about what switched them to conservatism was the different kind of energy they saw with conservatives.
Oh, that was a big one for me.
At MAGA events and at all these, Republican things, and it was prayer and it was positive and it was whatever.
Yep.
And they said that their side was mean and nasty. So what damage does it do to the testimony of conservatives when you act like Elizabeth Warren and AOC?
Yep. Have the conversation, hold each other accountable, but don't act like a child.
Correct.
So I think that's a good closing statement. Make sure you guys come back February 3rd, 12 Eastern, 11 Central Time. I have no idea what it is in the other time zones.
So if you haven't liked the video, share the video, please comment, subscribe, follow, comment, all the things. We are not going to have the same level of organic reach as many of our competitors will.
Yes.
So we need you to engage.
My stuff gets demonetized, and what is it? There's a word for it when they make it so that it doesn't elevate your stuff.
I don't know.
So because I've had a couple of community guideline strikes, because we cover topics that are not cute and fashionable, we don't get the same reach.
And look, check this out. If you haven't been in Facebook jail or YouTube jail at least once or twice, can I even really respect you?
I don't know about that.
You've done time.
But go if you want to support our content. If you like seeing us get to places like America Fest, talking to the people that you like to hear, like Bryson Gray, Lauren Chen, Actual Justice Warrior, go to our Subscribe Star. Go to Generally Irritable Subscribe Star. Contribute to this content. Then not just me. Go to Vermont Daily Chronicles. Subscribe to his content. Make sure if you want to see conservative content, like Generally Irritable, like Daily Wire, like Louder with Crowder, you guys have to vote with your dollars. Okay. Their team will donate money for anything. Y'all don't want to come out of pocket for nothing.
Their
Okay.
team will do tricks with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency just to win.
They'll literally rip people off to pay for stuff. So I'm not saying you guys should do that.
Hashtag Bitcoin balance. That's the new one we're going to make a real tag. Hashtag Bitcoin
So
balance.
go support people, or whatever. All right, you guys. Happy Sunday. We'll talk to you soon.
Generally irritable, a darker perspective.
We out. Oh, should I end with the
Yep.
with the thing?
Throw the commercial.